Why, Sony? You laid off 900 employees. All because you lost $10 billion.
Sony has just fired a huge chunk of...
Bro, he does this every single video. What's going on here, man? It's gotten to the point where people even addressing him in the comment section, telling him like, yo, PlayStation guy, you don't need to hold up your controller, man, every video. Watch. When these people say they're not hearing me, I mean, look at it. Dude, you don't need to hold up a controller. Look at this one. It's crazy. People out here trolling him even in his own comment section, man. At this point, I think everyone knows that Dreamcast guy has no gaming credibility anymore, man. I told you guys, what we doing here is working, as you clearly can see.
They just entirely closed a PlayStation game studio.
Wow.
And to be honest...
And the funny thing is, weren't you guys the same fanboys that talked about how Microsoft was laying off 1,900 employees? But a lot of that had more to do with the fact that they had Bethesda and Activision, which means that they had overlapping positions. Now, in Sony's case, that's actually kind of bad because it's not like Sony acquired any big studios during that time. So a lot of these people were existing. You get what I'm saying? Unlike what Microsoft with Bethesda and Activision, they just had replacements for each one of these overlapping positions. So if anything, Microsoft losing 1,900 employees is not as bad as Sony losing 900. You're like, that doesn't make sense. That's not good mathematics. It has a lot of sense because Activision and Bethesda are some of the biggest companies. Of course, there's going to be people laid off. It's common sense as to why that would happen. But with Sony, really 900 people losing their jobs and yet Sony didn't acquire anything? Now, that's pretty concerning.
I'm a bit concerned
see?
about the future of PlayStation
Oh,
games.
now you want to talk about the future. You see? I try to tell you, man. Now, all of a sudden, you PlayStation fans, the only time they want to bring up PlayStation when it gets so bad to the point where, like, we got to address this, man. Everything that they're doing in regards to Microsoft is coping. In reality, it's really them going under. And they can clearly see it, man. That's why you got people like Portorock saying, well, if PlayStation goes to PC, I'm going to go where the superior platform is. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because as long as they still got good quality games, I'm going to play their games no matter where they go. I'm going to follow where the games go, right? But this is why I try to tell you, man, you guys got to stop being attached to a piece of plastic.
But let's talk about that. Hi, I'm Dreamcast.
You can tell this man's hurt, man. You can tell when he came on camera, he's so hurt right now. He's like, I'm touched. He sound like Penguin from Batman Arkham City when he's like, you wins, right? Actually, matter of fact, let me go play that for you real quick. This is Dreamcast guy right here, man. Look what he trying to do to Black Man, bro. Wakey, wakey game.
Wakey, wakey, Wayne. Oh, what's up? Do you need me to call you butler?
Cobblepot.
Oh, you remember me. I'm touched. Your family destroyed mine, Wayne. This, well, let's just call this good old-fashioned revenge.
Now, if you guys all play that game, you know exactly as to what happened after he tried to take a punch at me. But let's see what we got going on here.
We get more AAA releases. We have crazier peripherals. We've got new innovative indie explosions happening.
But no games, bro. Indie explosions, bro. What? Man, ain't nobody talking about no indie games, man.
Somehow, it seems like the biggest companies are doing the biggest layoffs.
That makes a lot of sense because that means they have more people working for them. A bigger company will have more layoffs. Like, I mean, come on, bro. Like, I understand that this is kind of bad, and this is coming from Sony themselves. But like I said, with Microsoft, and this is not me capping, but with Microsoft's situation, it was a little different. We already knew people were going to get laid off after Microsoft acquired Bethesda and Activision because they already had a bunch of overlapping positions. So that made sense to me. Now, in regards to Sony hasn't acquired any studios for them to be laying off anybody. Like, you get what I'm saying? So if anything, this is actually more impactful towards Sony than it is Microsoft.
So PlayStation has just announced in the most PR speak possible that they're doing a global reduction of the workforce.
Oh, man.
Now, what this actually means is that they're shutting stuff down. They're firing 900.
I told you, man. Gaming is at its last legs, and all you console fanboys can do is fight amongst each other, bro. Instead of you guys just enjoying gaming and enjoying the moment, you people rather fight over nothing. Like, it's crazy, man. Now, this is actually some bad news considering that Sony also lost 10 billion. Like I told you guys, all the stuff these PlayStation fanboys do in regards to Microsoft is all projection. You can clearly see it, man. Microsoft is in probably the best position that they've ever been, right? That's why they're pushing their little Game Pass ecosystem. Sony is struggling right now, man. I can't see Sony really coming up with a PS7 or a PlayStation 8, man. Maybe a PlayStation 6 because that's probably something that they are in development, considering that they had a few games with the roadmap with Marvel Spider-Man 3. But you can't say to yourself, though, that Sony is in a good position right about now.
100 employees, which is 8% of their current
And
workforce.
the only time Sony fanboys want to address something is when it's too late, bro. I try to tell you, man, if you guys focus more on talking about PlayStation and less so on Xbox, all the criticism that they do towards Xbox is only making the Xbox ecosystem and platform a better place to play gaming. You see how criticism works? If you guys took the same energy to put that in towards your PlayStation, maybe PlayStation wouldn't be in this predicament.
Force. Now, I do want to make it clear there have been some apparent talks that PlayStation may attempt to absorb Bungie. Right now, Bungie, while they are technically bought and purchased by PlayStation, they're still under the Sony umbrella. That's why the stuff that Bungie works on is...
That's crazy that Sony went out there and bought a studio and don't even know what to do with it. And the funny thing is, Bungie, which is well known in making some of the most popular online multiplayer experiences, probably try to help Sony in regards to how they want to go about their gaming. But unfortunately, a lot of these Japanese companies are stubborn. It is what it is, bro. And unfortunately, they're not going to see the direction of gaming. Essentially, a lot of these studios like Nintendo and Sony, they're blockbuster, okay? Microsoft is Netflix. They the Hulu. They're the Netflix, man. They're trying to expand the way they go about gaming entertainment, while Sony and Nintendo still stuck in the past. But even Nintendo has finally came in agreement with Microsoft in regards to the Call of Duty for the 10-year deal, right? Even Nintendo, one of the most hardest companies to work with, agreed with Microsoft in regards to that, and probably also putting more third-party games on their platform, man, because Nintendo can see the writing on the wall. The only people that ain't seeing it is Sony and the fanboys.
To Xbox and PC and whatever else. So it seems like right now, this doesn't even involve that. I think that...
Because you have to argue the fact, like you guys say that the PS6 or the PS7 would exist, right? Sony's having a problem putting $350 million into a game like Marvel Spider-Man 2 and barely seeing that back, okay? That's the problem. You guys say that Microsoft's losing all this money and yet they still here. That's actually perfect because that means Microsoft can make up for their losses. Sony can't. If Sony loses in a situation like $10 billion, that potentially might make them go under. Oh, well, Microsoft, you lost this amount of money this year, but guess what? Microsoft made it right back. The fact that Microsoft can lose money and make it right back is the reason as to why they can still continue to exist. Sony just don't have that money, bro. For example, if you do believe in a PlayStation 6, PS7, and a PlayStation 8, right, in regards to console gaming, then that means you also agree that Sony will put $800 million into a game very similar to what Rockstar's doing with GTA 6 or $1 billion. That's not the case, bro. Come on, bro. You people know better than this, man. Stop the cap, bro. They know they're not going to be able to garner enough fans to go out there and buy any exclusive that Sony has in regards to putting a $800, $900, $1 billion budget in a video game. You guys know that. The only reason why Rockstar is even doing it because they know they know it's a guarantee they making that money back, bro. With how successful GTA 5 is, guarantee GTA 6 is probably going to be even more successful than GTA 5. They know it, man. It's a guaranteed success before the game even came out. Same thing with Elden Ring and Hogwarts Legacy. Those are the type of projects that people are willing to put big money into. Those type of projects, man. I mean, when you see games like Callisto Protocol, they put $150 million into it and it failed. That's the reason why that studio went under, man. Sony just can't do it anymore, man. They finally hit the cap in regards to how much money that they're willing to invest in gaming. And that's probably why Nintendo never went in the direction of 4K and 60 frames per second, because they knew. Now they can kind of play off it a little bit because now people are going to want to see Mario and Princess Peach with the wrinkles on the booty. But they can play that game now. They can wait as long as they can and come up with the hardware as slow as they can, and Nintendo fans are going to eat it up. But the day Nintendo hits 4K and all that, I'm telling you, man, that's when they're going to go under.
If they do merge Bungie into themselves, there's probably going to be a second wave of these layoffs. But this is just wild to me.
Wow, a second wave. This is the first wave, bro. You ever play Gears of War with the Horde mode? First Horde mode, you got the Brewmac. Now they out here dealing with the Berserk, the Lambent Berserker. It's over for Sony. It's over.
So here we go. London Studio is being entirely shut down. This is one of the more popular studios internally.
Look at this. This is affecting all PlayStation, several PlayStation studios. Impact. Look at that. Look at this. Oh my goodness.
They've been working on secret PS5 projects.
And the funny thing is about Microsoft and their gaming studios, they're all perfectly fine. Bethesda, Activision, Rare, all their games are fine. Every single one of their studios is in a good predicament, regardless of Halo Infinite, Collision is not as popular as you. It doesn't matter. The point is that these games can still exist while Sony's out here shutting studios because they lost $10 billion, man. They got to compensate. I guess buying those PlayStation 5 sales really didn't make a difference, did it?
Guess now are just never going to see the light of day.
Those PlayStation 5 sales was fabricated, and I'm telling you, man, Sony was single-handedly working with scalpers to build engagement for their platform, man. You see, that's why I know the PS5 is not just a trash console, because back then the PS4 didn't have to build off scalpers, bro. Like, let's just be honest, man. It was scalpers that had these consoles. Sony was trying to gauge interest by putting a limited supply. The scalpers had them, and it made people want to go out there and get one. Because I remember people was going out there. Matter of fact, Turboverse, I remember he was covering this a lot about how people was trying everything that they could do to get a PS5. Now that they got one, nobody even cares about it.
Production in Firesprite Studio. This is the person.
It's like I feel bad for the ones that really went out there and paid $1,000 for the PS5, bro. You have to be one of the biggest fools in the gaming community if you actually paid more than $500 for a PS5 console just because you couldn't get one.
They're working on some PSVR2 stuff. I guess we don't know what else they're going to be working on.
Yeah, well, they ain't going to be working on anything as of recently because, look, there's going to be a lot of reductions going on within that company. You can tell this man's hurt.
Typically, these companies sometimes, if they...
Oh, he's hurt. He's like, these companies sometimes... these companies sometimes...
It's your workforce. It's just a matter of being like, okay,
it hurts.
you don't get to work on new big projects.
Dreamcast guy, the Dreamcast, and now this.
Now you're just going to be doing ports and remasters and backup for a different team. Several PlayStation studios are being affected. This is all regions, including the Americas, this, Japan, and this. I don't know what these regions are. Now, honestly, this is kind of, I don't want to say the word vicious. But Jim Ryan visited PlayStation Studios 4 days ago.
Yeah, he's celebrating y'all defeat. I told you, y'all really trying to blame me, huh? It was never my fault. I told you, man. Y'all should have never replaced me for Hideo Teriyaki. I try to tell you, man. I try to leave this before it all blew up in all y'all faces, man. Look, now he gonna find a way to say that Jim Ryan is responsible for why PlayStation is like this. Go ahead, come up with your excuses.
5 days ago, they visited London Studio, and I guess
Jim Ryan trolling y'all. Yo, Jim Ryan working for Xbox. Yo, what's going on here, man? He was there 5 days ago. Next day, they shutting the studio down, man. Jim Ryan, yo, what's up? He working with Phil Spencer.
Probably walked in and told them they're all fired.
He don't even work there for the company, man. He out here like, congratulating, you guys did some good work, but Microsoft taking over, man. You might as well just get your bags and get them packing.
These people don't look like they realize they're about to all be fired in a matter of days. This kind of stuff sucks. Right now, in 2024, this news is incredibly brutal. It
ain't brutal, bro. You guys just want something to complain about, bro. This happens in everyday life. And on top of that, I guess if you're a gamer, but we've kind of knew this already, man. I mean, like he said, they're focusing on remasters and remakes. I mean, at this point, gaming has hit its peak. And Sony is unfortunately holding back the gaming industry. Microsoft has the budget to put $500, $800 million games. Well, they'll lose the money. Doesn't matter. The fact that they can lose that type of money means they can still put the game. But the Xbox Game Pass ecosystem creates a safe approach to where even if you don't buy these bigger budget, lower budget games, they still make the money back through the subscription. And this is why I was trying to tell you guys the power of Game Pass and subscription services. It's very powerful, man. All these Sony fanboys telling you that it doesn't work. Well, if it didn't work, then why are so many third-party studios trying to use it?
That the industry continues to implode. Embracer
We need
is
this. Unfortunately, we kind of need this, man. I mean, I've had people tell me, man, like, I think we're all in preparation of a gaming crash. Hey, this might be it. We might be getting to that point. And like I said, man, I'm not really too happy about this. But a lot of these people, what was this company doing before they even got laid off? I don't even know of a game from them. Like, you get what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, bro, like I said, man, we need some new blood, man.
one of the biggest gaming conglomerates backed by billionaires, and they've been mass buying up everything from Deus Ex to Tomb Raider to everything
So
else.
it goes to show you that gaming has finally outgrown the $500 Lunchable Happy Meal box. I told you guys this, man. These companies can't not fund it. The only company that can fund it is Microsoft. That's why I'm trying to tell you, Sony's probably going to get bought out by Apple or some other entity, because that's the only way they're going to be able to coexist within the console landscape of gaming. But Sony's going to need somebody with a little bit more money. So they're going to have to merge with somebody else. I try to tell you guys, man, Sony just don't have the money. And it's not that because I don't like Sony games. I love a lot of Sony games. The older stuff, mind you. But still, we're hitting this point where companies are taking losses and they're tired of it, bro. There's people losing their jobs all because Sony lost $10 billion.
And then they fired a bunch of the devs that were even working on those projects.
Well,
These companies, biggest.
Well, there goes those games, man. Remember when Microsoft got rid of a studio? Like, oh, well, we couldn't get this game, you know? Oh, well, I guess the same thing also applies to you.
Problem with video games, and I'm being dead serious about it. Let me tell you the problem with video games.
Go ahead.
It's not necessarily microtransactions. It's not necessarily overpriced games or short experiences or glitchy graphics.
But it is, though, because people are not buying these games for these said reasons.
In my opinion, the biggest problem with video games is that investors...
No. I'm sick and tired of you people blaming these businessmen for your decisions. You know what? I'm going to tell y'all the truth, man. Now, I didn't play a part in this, but I'm going to tell you guys the truth because a lot of these content creators are not going to tell you the truth in regards to that. You know who is responsible for this? Y'all ready? Y'all ready for this? The gamers. The gamers. When companies came out there with new projects, you people chose not to support them. You was too busy playing Fortnite, Call of Duty, third-party games on your PlayStation console. You, Dreamcast, are responsible. Just like you was responsible for why gaming went digital. It came out of your own mouth in your last video. Oh, I got over 800 digital games. Seeing like you got more digital games than physical, but you out here complaining that consoles are going to completely remove physical media, even though you just said you partake in buying 800 and thousands of digital games. Bro, it is what it is, bro. You guys are equally as responsible for why gaming is in the direction that it is, bro. You gamers need to take accountability. When EA said we're losing money on these games, that's why we got these EA online passes, right? To essentially get rid of the used gaming market because they wanted the money exclusively to them. Y'all like, oh, EA, you can't tell us what to do. And you still went out there and bought their games used without paying for the online pass. Okay, companies were losing money even back then. And the gamers didn't listen. Y'all didn't listen. And this is why we have this predicament. This is why we are in this situation.
Make the art. The coolest experiences, the craziest, flashiest, 5-phase mutant with titties that shoot lava milk. That's the kind of stuff that people make to entertain us.
Bro, this man must have been playing Duke Nukem forever. I wish I had me 3 guns.
Now it's being funded by people that pick stuff by blindly asking what sells the most.
Well, that's how gaming is. Bro, you think these companies are going to want to waste money on a game, bro? Like, you got to ask yourself, man, if you was remotely a businessman, bro, regardless of how much you enjoy gaming, do you really think you're going to want to spend $250 million of your dollars into a game that's not going to sell? You got to ask yourself, bro, that's not good business, man. Would you run a fast food restaurant where you're not getting any business? So I guarantee every business that closes in all over the world, when they close, they should be able to keep it and have their workers. How are you going to be able to keep and maintain something if you don't even have the money to pay your employees? Bro, that's the problem with you fanboys, man. You guys think that these companies are supposed to bring you games entirely for free so you guys can get enjoyment from them. At the end of the day, it's a double-edged sword. It's a 50-50. We buy their games, and they make the games for us.
And if it doesn't sell, they fire you for it. Now,
Of course. Why not? They need the money. They need the money. Just like at McDonald's, if you don't do your job, you get fired, bro. It is what it is, bro. This is corporate business. Okay? You guys don't like the ethical practices that go on in regards to business, man. And it is what it is, bro. But at the end of the day, while you guys was hating on the console brethren, which is Xbox or PlayStation, you guys could have been all banding each other together to go out there and support these new games and projects. But nope, no, you didn't. You would just hate Xbox. You would just rather wait for the games to come to PlayStation instead of just and put your pride aside instead of just going out there and buying an Xbox to go out there and play these games. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, man. Microsoft knows that the gaming community ain't nothing ran but a bunch of fake gamers.
here's the part of it that's extra bizarre to me, which is the fact that it sounds like PlayStation is betting on the impossible. This is Herman Holstein's one of
And
the
this is why, right? And this is why games have to either go multi-plat, and there's no reason for console exclusivity. Because console exclusivity is actually what's hurting a lot of these exclusive games.
heads of PlayStation Worldwide Studios, and he said essentially that they need to start finding other ways to make money.
But that's the problem, though. It's not even just that. It's the fact that they got to compete with free-to-plays, some of the biggest third-party games. At this point, Microsoft is the biggest third-party distributor. What does Sony really have anymore? You know what I mean? You got to ask yourself, man. Every regard that Sony is at the bottom. And now only Nintendo can rely solely on their exclusives, but Sony can't.
Like their typical blockbuster first-party
It's not even first party. The funny thing is he brings up Helldivers 2, but Helldivers 2 is not even first party. It's third party.
games. Like, consider
It took for the game to go third party for the game to even be successful.
what sells the most PlayStation 5s. It's games like Spider-Man. It's
Here we go with the caps. Here we go with the caps. I can't wait to hear what else he got to say.
games like God of War Ragnarok. It's games like Horizon. It's
Wrong, because God of War Horizon is on PS4. God of War Ragnarok is on PS4. What was the other game? Marvel Spider-Man 2? Bro, that only sold 5.5 million, bro. Everybody bought a PS5 to play Call of Duty and Fortnite.
this huge, big, giant, single-player focused.
Bro, nobody bought a PS5 for that, bro. You would be lying to yourself, bro. You will be lying to yourself if you actually believe that people went out there and bought a PS5. And if they did, I'm telling you, you are in the small minority. Very small. Very small. You're probably in the 3% of all PlayStation 5 owners that went out there and bought a PS5 for actual exclusives.
narrative experiences. That's what PlayStation, in my opinion, has
That's
really.
your opinion, but that's not the truth. I'm sorry. Your opinion is a stupid opinion because it's not true. We already know that most people play. I mean, look at the top 10 games in your country. I looked at it. A lot of them was Fortnite, and they just decided to throw Helldivers 2 at the top as if it's in first place, even though the game was supported on PC and it was never supported on PlayStation. I mean, at this point, Sony is the kings of false advertising.
built their brand on for about the last 12 years.
No. Sony built their brand on third-party games, happening to be exclusive. The reason as to why Sony's having trouble right now is because of the Xbox 360 woes. When Microsoft came in with the Xbox 360, that fundamentally changed everything that Sony had to do. Because they're like, oh man, we can't keep these games exclusive anymore. They out here dropping games on Xbox. They out here dropping games on the Wii. That's the problem with Sony. Nintendo had this same problem too, but guess what? During the N64 woes, the GameCube woes, they finally got a hit with the Wii, okay? Nintendo was in the same situation too, guys, if you think about it. They were, right? Nintendo wasn't really doing the greatest either in regards to home consoles. They knew that, so they took their portable gaming division and merged it with their home console one, and that's what birthed the Nintendo Switch. It's a portable console that can be played at home, right? Is that essentially what the Switch is, guys? You know I'm right. So, essentially, Nintendo has already gave up on home consoles in favor of portables. So, just a portable that can be played on a TV, no different than the Game Gear and the PSP.
You do get games like Killzone and SOCOM sprinkled in there. You get other
Wait, I haven't seen these games in a long time. What are you talking about, SOCOM and Killzone? I haven't heard of these games in a long time.
styles of games, but the stuff that's selling console.
I mean, if you think about it, Killzone Shadowfall, like that game came out, 11 years, bro, right? About 11 years ago. Wow. You see how fast time flies?
Days Gone. It's Knack 3. It's stuff like that.
No, because we don't even know what Days Gone, bro. Days Gone's a PS4 game. And see, you guys are still caught up in the days of the PS4, bro. And unfortunately, that's not what's going on here, bro. The PS4 was probably Sony's last good console to where a lot of these new age gamers were finally getting into gaming. But guess what? They've already lost interest.
So the fact that they're actually saying, hey, we need to print money with our live service games, or we can't keep making big narrative games.
Well, that goes to show you that Sony can't make no AAAs no more.
Is insanity.
That hurts. That hurts to a Sony fan that their biggest studio can't even come up with AAAs anymore. I told you guys, this gaming is getting too expensive. Only company that can do that is Microsoft. And that's why Microsoft is going to be able to continue to still be in the gaming industry, okay? Because they have the money to compete. And like I've told you guys before, Microsoft was never competing with you. They don't see you as competition. You know who they see as competition? Apple and Google and Tencent. They don't even care about you, bro. That's why they put in their games on your platform. You're like, oh, they're putting their games on our platform because Microsoft's losing. No, they're putting their games on your platform because they know your console is dead. They know that Sony can't continue it anymore. So on top of that, let the Sony gamers have some fun playing some of these Xbox games. Why not? We already know you're dead. We already know that you guys will cease to exist.
First 2 is a huge success for PlayStation, but I mean, they just ate the cost of Last of Us live service game completely folding.
He's hurt.
All of this, in my opinion, just completely sucks. I don't like the fact that PlayStation is becoming afraid of their own shadow.
It's not even that, though. You see, y'all blaming the wrong people. Blame the gamers. Okay? Blame the gamers. The gamers are the ones not buying these games. Why should Sony take losses on games if you people ain't buying them? Why? That don't even make sense.
I'm seeing so many people that actually work in video games saying that the industry is just in shambles.
Well, you guys said it was just Microsoft, but it's clearly, like I've said before, it's the whole gaming industry. Now, all of a sudden, PlayStation fanboys are in agreement with us about us telling them. Apparently, it was just Xbox. I told you guys, they've been coping ever since the PS5 launched, bro. And if you're an Xbox, PC fan, Nintendo, don't let these guys take the fun from you. At the end of the day, there's still a lot to have. Even though I don't care about the industry, but there's still a lot of fun to be had within our industry. Okay, do not let these PlayStation fanboys take that away from you because their console is going to cease to exist.
Sure that PlayStation exactly knows how to get out of this mess. The PS4, the PS5 have undoubtedly been massive, massive successes.
No, don't even put the PS5 on the level of the PS4. PS4 made money through subscriptions. PS4 made money off exclusives, and PS4 actually had a lot of hardware sales that actually meant something because of the software and everything else that I mentioned. PS5, all they got is hardware sales. They don't have no subscription sales, and people are playing the console for all the wrong reasons. You got to remember, when the PS4 came out, they didn't have a lot of these free-to-plays. They had like Warframe. They didn't have the Fortnites. When those games came out, that's when Sony was in trouble.
I almost think that it's because of momentum. I think that what Sony did purely by accident, in my opinion, with the PlayStation 4 is they finally positioned themselves as the default console. Everybody bought a PS4 because it was like, okay,
now we're going to start agreeing with Phil Spencer. Okay, let's see.
This is where I go to play Call of Duty. It's where I'll play No Man's Sky.
You hear it? All third-party games. Go ahead, admit it.
That new random cool third-party stuff.
GameStar with another W. Cool third-party stuff. GameStar with another W.
And
let's go.
The exclusives are good. But now...
Yeah, I will say that. Yeah, at the time, the PS4 had everything. It had the exclusives. It had the online. It had the call. It had a kind of like he said, the default console. That's why Phil Spencer was telling you, man, we can't out-console Sony because, especially what they did with backwards compatibility, PS4 going to PS5 was an easy transition. For a lot of people, it was. You know, Microsoft knew. That's why they said it was an important generation for them to win, because if the Xbox One was successful, a lot of that success would have got carried to the Series X. See, the problem is Microsoft dropped the ball with the 360 and couldn't transition those people to the Xbox One. I guarantee Microsoft said, you know what? We should have had backwards compatibility. If we had this day one, I'm telling you, who knows? The Xbox One could have been a little bit more popular. You see? But they did it as of late. They decided to add it, and they're like, oh, man, and they regret it. And then people did enjoy it, but it wasn't enough for people to abandon their PlayStation 4s.
Here we are, the PlayStation 5. Game development is more expensive. It's more timely. Everything takes years and years to finish. And now it means that even if you do love the PS4 and the PS5, you're getting games drip fed to you instead of that lightning pace.
Now you're starting to understand the things that GameStop has been trying to tell you.
So the industry is kind of trying to cannibalize itself. Okay, let's take our existing fans and try and sell them new consoles every 3 years instead of every 6 years. How many studios can we?
Yeah, but it's like phones. It's just little upgrades.
Close before we go back into the green. I'm kind of rambling because, to be honest, I haven't had my Red Bull yet.
And bro, I try to warn you, bro. Oh, when he get his Red Bull, he'll go back to being a full pony. Okay. He meant Red Pony. He don't drink Red Bull. He drinks Red Pony. So at the end of the day, bro, like I told you guys, man, you guys want to believe in this false reality that consoles will continue to exist. I've told you guys countless amount of times that consoles will be dead in the next 10 to 15 years, and I stand on it. As you guys can see, it look like that's happening right now. We barely even got to what I'm saying. All the information that I have, I'm trying to slowly, how you said slowly trickle it out. But man, we kind of already getting there already. I told you, I'm a gaming prophet. I've been doing this since I was 2 years old, baby.
Kind of stuff does irk me. My favorite version of PlayStation is when they're...
You know what they said? I don't know if your dad ever told you this, but good things come to an end. It is what it is, bro. Enjoy what you have. Enjoy gaming. Enjoy playing with your friends. At the end of the day, you can't control or stop anything that's going to happen. You can get mad at these Fortnite players. You can get mad at these Apex Legends and these Fall Guys. But guess what? They don't care because they're enjoying their games while you people are not happy. Let me tell you something. I was never like this, but there was a phase where I was like, man, I just can't stand the gaming direction. I looked at it very similar. I want to say similar to Dreamcast guy, but I guess I'll say it for this video. A little similar to Dreamcast guy, feeling like there was no hope. It's like, why am I playing PS5? Why am I playing Series? But you have to find the little bits of enjoyment. At the end of the day, I went from being a hardcore gamer to a casual, not because, I could still get down with some hardcore games, but it's just like, what's the point of being hardcore if all the games are casual anyway? At the end of the day, I did my work, no different than a retired boxer. I can put my gloves up, man. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I earned my respect and I earned my colors, man. That's all that matters to me. And the people that know who I am and the people that know that I got to actually play games, I got my respect for them. I don't care about the continuation of video gaming. I already got 30 and 40 years of gaming greatness in my home.
Being stupid, when they're trying stuff out, when they're experimenting with the best.
Well, people don't buy
experiments.
It doesn't matter. And that's why Phil Spencer said it doesn't matter if we make the greatest games in the world. That's what he meant. That's because he can't compete with Sony. No. You guys completely missed the fact that he was trying to say Microsoft can make the greatest game. You know what? I'll go as far to, just so these Sony fanboys can understand, Sony can make the greatest game in the world. And guess what? It still won't be Call of Duty. It still won't be GTA 6. And it still won't be NBA 2K. That is the reality. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, man. Like I said, take care, man.